October 23, 1993. The classes of 62, 63, and 64 met for lunch at What's Cooking Restaurant off the square in downtown Charleston. 14 class members were able to attend. We've included a few pictures to help take us down memory lane. I'm sure you'll recognize a few faces. Lance Jim, now McAfee Jim. WA Council. Field hockey. Basketball. Volleyball. Tennis, Martha Lynn Bolt. Synchronized swimming. Tumbling. Darlene Moore, Tony Morris. Badminton, Paula Ferguson. Modern dance. Canoeing, Joyce Hardesty, M. Von Lanken, Judy Wiggins. Archery, Sharon Broadway. Bait casting, Sue Gunder, Jan Hughes. Softball, Joyce Hardesty, Jan Fries, Sharon Broadway. Golf, Jan Hughes. And who could forget our wonderful class camping trips? Hope you enjoy the luncheon video.
And what was the other thing? Buffalo sausage, so we can have a little snacks afterwards.
There's snacks already there.
There's snacks for Mary June already there, so.
Yeah, and you can go
you know what?
in the yard or go fishing or.
This has really been exciting, you guys. I don't have to tell you. And every day I would run home and I'd open up the mailbox and see who sent me a letter. It was really neat. And I'm really glad everyone's been able to get together and come together like this. And really, seriously, think about trying it for our 50th.
Yes. We'll mark that down right now.
Okay, got it. Okay, why don't we just find a place and eat them?
Talked to her in July, and she's doing fine. Well, she getting older. Let's see, who else did? Miss Kate is deceased. Miss Molly's deceased. Oh, I've got to tell you a Miss Molly joke, which you would have missed. And she would love to have it told. But when I was young as a nurse here at Eastern and running around with Charlotte and Maurice and Daves and Donnie Hart and some of those people, I remember once we had been, most of us had been here several years, or Pete had been here a long time. And some of us were getting kind of tired of being at Eastern, and we were talking about, well, what we might do, you know, that'd be different. And somebody said something about, well, we might go into prostitution. and Pete stood up and said, what the hell makes you think you can make a living? That's in memory of Pete. That's good.
Does anyone have a funny thing they'd like to relate that happened back in school that you'd like to share with the group? You thought about any of those?
Yeah, I got it.
Go for it, Steph, go for it.
Okay, this was during summer school one year. We went over to the swimming pool, and Carol and Bud was with me, and I'm not sure who else, but we were, I think maybe Joyce. I'm not sure. Anyway, we were helping Dorothy Hart with a swim class, and we were the last ones there in the pool area, and she said, well, we have to turn the lights out when we leave. And she said, now, the box for turning all the switches off is in the boys' locker room. So she had one of us hold the door open so that she could go in and turn the lights off, come out she wouldn't, you remember it now? She wouldn't tell us what had happened for the longest time. Eventually, she said, well, I'll tell you, but don't you dare tell anyone. And she said, I was going along the wall, and all of a sudden I felt the ceramic area. She said, then I knew where I was.
I will remind Dolly Hart of that tonight.
All right.
Okay, Dan's gonna tell the story.
All right, well, in that same locker room, I heard that, you know how I was always making up stories. Well, anyway, I was on the swim show, and they put me in charge of the lighting, and I went in there, and I heard that Dr. Dowdell used to come in there and swim. And so on the way back to the dorm, I thought, wouldn't it have been funny if I walked in there and he was taking a shower? So I made this all up. When I got back to the dorm, I said, you wouldn't believe what happened to me. I walked in there, and here he was. And I said, Dr. Dowdell, and he said, well, the next day it was all over campus. I don't think I know it. Oh, and the other thing is that DJ and I, one summer when we were down here, we took on all these part-time jobs, cutting grass and cleaning houses. And I don't remember the woman that was in charge of hot health. But we were over there, and I was cleaning, and she was doing her ironing. And we talked about you didn't do a very good job. Reinhardt.
Emma Reinhardt.
Educational. Yeah. This is health education.
Wasn't there a...
I like it in her face. It wasn't green.
Paula's got a story. Okay, Paula's turn.
I guess I should think of many stories, but I'll just start out with this one. I think it was when we were seniors or close to being seniors. We were taking a golf class with I think our illustrious instructor, Miss Molly. And we had gone through the instructional phase, and finally she decided we knew enough that we could go out on the course. And so she put us into foursomes, I think. Is that what they say? Foursomes. Okay, at that time. But Diane Chevron was in our group, along with a couple other people. But I think was it 72 strokes it took for you to get even halfway to the first hole. 72 strokes, and we were laughing so hard that, this Molly drove her car on the golf course. That car came speeding across the golf course. It was leaving dust. We were laughing so hard, she thought something had really happened. Well, it was just a Chevy Captain trying to hit the golf ball, and after, I think, as Molly said, that maybe after 10 strokes we should just go on.
There's more to that story, though. There's more to that story. This is it. Pete called me into her office after this. And she says, now, Jeff, she says, we've got this problem. She says, I'm supposed to pass you for this course. She said, but I don't see how I can. She said, but I'll tell you what. She said, if you sign up for it next quarter and take it for not for credit, but come in to the non-major class and take it again, she says, then I'll pass you on this course. So that's how I got my C in golf. And I did sign up and take it. And now when I play golf, which I do on occasion, I don't keep score at all.
Yeah, but it's really hard to do anything on that golf. They had sand green.
It's still horrible. Even our new president doesn't like golf evidently, because the golf course facility is bad. When I was in school.
Yeah, okay. Carolyn Butt has a story.
Okay. I didn't have pictures then. It's about the only pictures that I have. I didn't take all pictures. I came to know these students under this, but Desmond was Hayden. And we went on
our freshman camping trip. Oh, yeah. And Kay and I woke up kind of early, and I had never seen anybody. I always wondered how she got her hair curled. She got a curling iron, and we had never seen anything like that before. Kay and I were kind of looking at each other, and she got kind of a big kick out. I had a picture of her on top of the bed, curling her hair. And I'm
She heated her iron in the campfire.
Yeah.
Well, this one was electric.
Oh, this was electric. Oh, that was electric. This was electric. Mark
She's sitting on her.
bolts behind her.
She was sitting on my bed.
I was on a
That's what I
camping
did. I
trip when
woke up
she
that way.
heated the iron in the campfire.
But that was quite an experience as a freshman, and I've never seen anything quite like that.
Well, may I have a sequel to that?
You sure can have a sequel to this.
Miss Hayes, I was a dear, and I had her in class when I was in school in 43, 44, 45. And I loved her dearly. And she always had this curly hair, and I'd gone camping with her, or with a group. I think it was after I was a nurse, but we camped out. We didn't, and she had a curling iron that she stuck in the fire and curled her hair. She curled it that morning too. But she lived when she was retired down in South Carolina, no, just south of Asheville, North Carolina, and it was on the way to my sister's. So I stopped to see her a few times. Well, the last time I saw her, I wanted to take her out to eat, but she wouldn't go out to eat. She evidently didn't get out of the house much. And of course, you couldn't help but notice that her hair was short and straight. And she apologized to me for her hair looking like it did. She says, I just can't get my arms up to do it anymore. So bless her heart, but she had tried, and she was a dear, dear sweet person. She was.
I want to say, Tony Manson regrets that she was not able to be here today. She's now living in North Carolina. Just moved this past winter. I lost contact with her. I was in Chicago this past winter, walking down the street and ran into her. But I have respect for her. She's got a lot of courage. She has cancer. And but, and she moved to North Carolina because her brother teaches at one of the universities there and was there with his family. She's close to him. But she's back in Park Ridge this weekend because she's going to a wedding, and I'm going to have brunch with her tomorrow somewhere in Northwest Suburb somewhere. But she would have liked to be here.
Yeah, give her all our love.
Yeah, she wanted to get everybody dressed.
Well, take an extra
Okay.
copy, okay?
No, if you have a minute, Dr. Card, I'm sure she'd be.
We don't have a current address on her.
Oh, okay.
So we'll need a current address.
I'll get, okay.
Sure, we got it out. You don't want to talk about Tony. You know that hard shit, don't you?
Do you want to borrow this one?
That's the way I was looking at it.
One eye. They're curling your hair.
Okay, well, you requested Ed to tell you why or how she ended up in North Pole, Alaska.
The only person I ever thought that lived in North Pole was
Santa Claus.
He's still there? I was gonna say, that's so busy, we're going to Santa Claus.
What's the Santa Claus here?
So tell us about it.
Well, after I left here, I went to Colorado and got my master's during summer school. I met this fellow and a few other teachers who were already teaching in Alaska. And when I finished school, graduated, they said, well, there's an opening in the schools up here if you want to come up. And that was about 100 miles south of Fairbanks, a little army post called Fort Greeley. It was a Northern Warfare Training Center for officers, really. So it was kind of a high caliber place. I went up after I received a telegram from the Commissioner of Education from the state of Alaska offering me a job, first year out of college, for $7,400. There's no way I could say no. I had always wanted to go to Alaska, always. And so I just jumped at the opportunity and sent a telegram right back and says, I'll take it. And I went up, finished out that year at Fort Greely, then we went out to Adak, which is an island halfway between Anchorage and Tokyo. And that was at a naval base, and we taught dependent children there. Spent a year there.
The week, this your husband?
After we were married, yeah. I just skipped marriage.
Skip that part.
Last day of school that year, we got married. He was the coach. And taught about 3 other subjects. We had 64 students in the high school. And then we spent the year at ADAC, transferred into Eielson Air Force Base, which is 24 miles south of Fairbanks. And in between Fairbanks and this Air Force Base is a little community called North Pole. And the guy started it kind of as a joke. You know, where do you live? Well, at the North Pole, you know. Does Santa live there? Yeah. So he started this huge gift shop, and it's called Santa Claus House. And so it just kind of grew from there. And now it's quite a community. About 8,000 people live there. Not too many, but it's 20 miles outside of Fairbanks, and that's where we get our mail, so that's our mailing address. But actually, we don't quite live there. But,
So what's the mean temperature?
mean temperature, summer or winter?
Winter, get winter. It's meaner in the winter.
Hey, listen, it is a mean temperature because Sharon belongs, mind you, to the polar bear club. Now, you know what we have to do down here. She did it in the spring up there. Let's give her a hand.
She's crazy.
You only do it once. But they give you a free jacket, see it was a bet.
Marlene.
I like swimming.
Area code, 708, area code.
Teacher.
Let me talk to you, Dana. All right, good.
Donna Pellegrini Oberto, and when I left Eastern and graduated from Eastern in 1963, my first teaching job was at Mount Olive High School, which was about 7 miles from Wilsonville, the small town where I grew up, and landed the teaching job quite easily. And when I got there, they threw everything at me. The pep club and the cheerleaders and a sponsor class, the junior carnival, the prom, and finally the yearbook. And in the final analysis, I stayed with teaching physical education in the high school, in junior high, where I traveled over to the junior high, and then did 9 yearbooks. And in the course of teaching there in Mount Olive, I married John Alberto, who's here with me today. This is my husband, John. And we were married in 1967. And in 1972, I quit teaching in Mount Olive because we had applied for adoption. We had no children, so we adopted a set of twins, twin daughters, in 1973. They were 9 days old. But to our surprise, 7 months later, I gave birth to a baby girl. So that was more or less what we've been doing for the past 20 years, after my 9 years of teaching, is raising the 3 daughters. And they are going to be, the twins are going to be 21, and Jennifer, the youngest, 20. They're all 3 in college at Southern Illinois University in Edwardsville. The twins live in Edwardsville. The youngest one is at home commuting. The young people went through athletics and also in music. As far as I'm concerned, I had a cancer surgery in 1991, and it's been 2.5 years, and I hope to beat it. I go for
checkups every 4 months, and have passed every test so far. So I'm hoping to beat that. Been diabetic for the last 20 years, and I'm living with that also, and we're happy.
All right.
In closing, I'm very happy to be here with all of you today.
And we're happy to have you with us, too.
Go for it, Kay.
Well, I am Kay Watson Epperson. I graduated in 1962. My first teaching job was at Bantu Central Junior High School. I taught there a year. We got married, moved up to the northern part of the state. Taught 5 years in junior high there in Lansing, Illinois. And then I went to Hammond, Indiana, taught 2 years in elementary school, and then back to Illinois, and I've been in this school system, North Fractional South High School, since 1971, and I've taught physical education mostly. I did teach biology for 5 years, and during that period of time I coached 17 years, 12 years in tennis, 14 years in tennis, 12 years in basketball, 3 years volleyball. I was the assistant athletic director for 11 years, and now I'm the dean of students. I also have a 30-year-old son, and I'm a grandmother. 3-year-old granddaughter.
Carolyn Bud Yonker. After graduation, I got married. I went from student teaching in November, got married in January, and probably one of the few that I had never taught. This was never I think.
She taught me how to play golf, though.
Yeah. I taught him all the sports I know. Anyway, we went from, after we got married, we lived in Chicago. My husband was stationed at Arlington Heights, Illinois. We lived in Rolling Meadows for a year and a half. Our first daughter was born up there. And then we moved to Quincy, Illinois. He joined the Farm Service FS. We were there for 5 years. Our son was born there. And then we've been in Iowa the last 25 years. And we lived in 3 places in Iowa. Our youngest daughter was born there. She's 23, and she's our special child. She's multiple handicap, blind, and she was born with hydrocephalus. And but she still lives at home with us. She went to a special school in Iowa for some 17 years, and she's in a program there at home, where we're at now. And just as of April 1st, we moved to Galesburg, Illinois, so we're back in kind of home territory because our folks still are alive down in South Decatur. So most of my work has been volunteer. Not that I haven't been doing anything.
Welcome home.
Yeah.
Sue Gunder. I went to Bloomington. I don't know how I got there. I always said it was the mistake of the secretary. They forgot to put in my application. And I believe you don't remember this, but you said, well, you call up there and tell them. And I did. And they said, well, come up, like this was on a Wednesday, to come up on a Saturday. And I thought, oh, gosh, Chevy, where's Bloomington? I didn't really know. And so Chevy and I went up to Bloomington, and I had an interview, and I got the job. And I said, well, where's the school? They said, it's right next door. And so I taught junior high for about 12 years. Then I went to the high school for 12 years. Then I moved over because I wanted the challenge of coaching, and I coached volleyball, basketball, and badminton for us badminton players. I worked hard on getting that badminton, but it finally went under in about 3 years because they wanted to put in bowling, and so we sort of lost the badminton. And I did a lot of swimming. I think I taught thousands of kids to swim because we ran about a 3-week program, and I taught five sections, about 150 kids. each section. So did a lot of swimming, and then when I gave up the coaching, I went back to the junior high, and that was fine. I always liked it. I just wanted the challenge, and it was fun. I went back to all the people that I knew, and I finished up there at the junior high. I moved into a new one, which was nice, but it turned out to be a lemon because our classes went from 30 to 50, and then we doubled up. So if I had a room this size for 50, I really felt good. We're not able to teach much, but it was a challenge. So you understand when I took the chance to retire. No, that's not awful. I enjoy a lot of golf. I'm an avid golfer and play a lot of tennis. I'm always on the go, and I hope I can keep that up as I get older here. And it's wonderful that Chevy and all the other people here that took the effort to get us together. Thanks a lot. It's been fun, and I'm glad we all got together.
We do have to go.
All right. That's all right.
We've got to be somewhere else this evening.
All right,
So,
Carolyn. Thank you
I
very
really
much.
appreciate the opportunity that they did this, and it's been a lot of fun. I just had no idea.
We were going to talk so
Never
much.
quite know.
You, right. You never know. That's right.
We're just
Okay. Well, I'm Diane Chevron Barr, Chevy, and I spent the last 30 years trying to stay out of trouble. I haven't done a very good job of it either. But no, when we were at Eastern and interviewing for jobs, Slip went up with me to Wheaton and interviewed for a position up there in elementary PD, and as she reminded me, they handed me this big curriculum and said, "This is what you teach," and I said, "No, thank you." And I ended up in Antioch, Illinois, teaching K through 8. And then I left there and went into the big city, to River Grove. And then I ended up back at Antioch when I was married. And then kind of ended up in Burlington, Wisconsin, which is just over the line. A little more breathing space on that side of the border. I've spent the last 7 years in special education, teaching adaptive physical education to physically disabled students. I have approximately 70 students, ranging in range from 3 to 21. I have self-contained classes. I have students in regular physical education that I'm in the gym with them. I'm all over the county, Lake County, all over the Zion, all over the county. If you know that area, there you go, the spread. I really enjoy it, thoroughly. However, I am retiring. I have 2 sons. One is in Boulder, Colorado, and the other is a freshman at the University of Wyoming. The oldest son is a free spirit, just like I was. And the younger son is, well, he's something else. He's a very smart, intelligent young man. I'm still not sure where he gets it all from, but he has it. He's got it all together. And it's been a good 30 years. And I sure am glad you guys are on. This is really great.
Thank you.
I want to say before Slip says anything, Miss McAfee always knew that Chevy had something to it. A couple of tries and stuff, but she knew that there was something to Chevy. And she saw it before anybody else saw it. That's for sure.
But just a couple of additions, I guess I need to give my name to Sharon Broadway Benner. The 2 additions I need to tell you about,
Pronounce that.
put Ben and Earth together and say it fast.
Okay.
The 2 additions that I need to tell you about is my daughter Tori, who is 24 years old, finishing her master's degree in sports medicine, and an adopted son, Jeffrey, is 20. And I retired in 85, and I love every minute of it. I love every one of you, and I'm really glad to be here. This is the first time I have seen anyone from school for 30 years, except Bingy, I saw once, and that was all. So this is special. Yeah, I might not have been able to put a name, but no. My kids got old. I don't know about yours yet, but we're all the same. Thank you.
Go for it, Fertile. It's your turn. Stand up.
Stand up.
before you really get the one you want kind of thing, you know. Well, we were in a swim show, and I didn't have time for finding a job anyway, but I did go for an interview. And they called and they wanted to give me the job, and I didn't want the job, and they said, well, how much would it take to get you? And I thought, they said, throw out a number, you know, and they won't give it to you. So, well, I did, and they did, and anyway, Mount Pulaski, and then I went up to Belvedere, and I'm currently living in Charleston, working in Sullivan, which is over towards Cape. Right past 3 years, I'm 6'8". But, you know, they throw in third grade sometimes, fourth grade, whatever, you know. And I think retirement's looking very good. I have to say this, just this week we went to a meeting concerning this 5-5 retirement. And after we got out and I told, oh yes, I'm married, my husband, and Nina's husband are out pheasant hunting in South Dakota this weekend. Swapping lines and a few other things. After the meeting, we got out and I said, John, did you see some people in there that look like maybe they should have retired several years ago? And he says, you know what? He said, I got to looking around. He said, I think we were the youngest ones there. That wasn't so, but
Well, let's see. I'm Sharon's activist. And, well, when I graduated, I had a lot of job offers, but I have a big mouth and low self-esteem, so I took the job in a Catholic girls' school because they had PE 2 days a week, and I figured maybe I knew up. And I can remember having a conversation with Miss McAfee on the bus coming back from somewhere, and I told her that I wanted to go into counseling. And she told me I was crazy and I should be teaching elementary PE or whatever. But anyway, I was bound and determined, and I started graduate school as soon as I started working. I took a year off, went down to U of I, got my master's in counseling. Came back and I worked at Lincoln Way High School for a year as a counselor. Gwen's alma mater.
yeah.
And then a friend of mine was up in Freeport and told me they needed a woman counselor at the community college there, so I worked up there for a couple years and really enjoyed it, but I liked the town and everything, but the social life left a little bit to be desired. So, consequently, therefore, I moved to Hoffman Estates and I worked at Harvard College as a counselor. And I was really into sensitivity training, encounter groups, and group dynamics and all that. And and I was in a group psychotherapy, and there were some crazy people in there. There were 2 guys that were younger than me, and they were going to take off and go to Europe. And I thought, God, if they can go, so can I. So I took my money out of the teacher retirement fund, went to Europe for 3.5 years, and I just paid it back.
But you've done it.
I did, and I had a good time. I also remember Maurice Davis talking about traveling around Europe, and I thought, oh God, if she can do it, so could I. So I had a wonderful time. I met a lot of nice people, and very, very glad I did it. Then I came back, and I didn't know what I was going to do, but some guy mentioned, well, when I was at Harper, I had kids at the low end of they were developmental programs and there were a lot of them in special ed. So this guy talked me into doing an internship in the school site. So I took the coursework. I took about 24 graduate hours one semester, several different places, and then I got an internship in the school site, and I lived with Roseanne for a year. Then I was going to go to California. I had a job offer there, but my brother-in-law got sick, and then he eventually died, so I stayed around there to help my sister. And I took a job in Romeoville, Bolingbrook at the high school. Was the first school psychologist there. Worked there a number of years, and I went back for my doctorate degree in clinical psychology. So I was going to school full-time, working full-time, was teaching on the weekends. I was doing that for about 3 years. I met somebody
talk about marriage and that, and then it all caught up with me. I told him I had to get through this first. All caught up with me, hit the wall in 1979, and I had busted a gut, and I had 4 surgeries in 8 months. I had a colostomy for 8 months. Never had any kids, but I changed a lot of... I'll tell you, when you bust a gut, I bet it's equal to cold labor. But everything, it was sort of hard. I got through that, and then I had to do an internship in political psych, so I did that. I had one in Alaska. No, not Alaska. No, Las Vegas. And but I had to give that up when I got sick. Also, at that time, the Army was looking for interns. And while I'm flat on my back at Loyola Hospital, they were sending me applications doing internship. And I even went for the physical just to see what it was like with all these kids. But anyway, so I did my internship, and then I came back, and after being sick and everything, I figured I'm not pushing myself, and I went through a time where I was sort of low, but now, and I've been in school psych, and I really have all of my paper before I get my degree. We've been talking about that, ambivalent about that, and this past year, I just got so burnt out as a school psychologist and so sick of the administration and that, fighting with them, that I went in the summer and I asked them about early retirement. And when I came out, I asked them if they had any job openings. They said only one. I said, what's that? He said, elementary PD. I said, okay, I'll take it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm getting fun. Like I said, I just put the money back, and I'm not good at deal other than put the money back. So who knows what's going to happen? I might take Roseanne's job. Retire.
I'm Roseanne Angelovich, and she's welcome to my job. This is anyone else. I've been planning on this since they mentioned it last year. I have been at Romeoville High for 31 years, ever since I left Eastern. It was a hole in the ground when I signed my contract. I have worked at 3 different districts and never left the same building. Oh yeah, we were also involved in 45, 50 year-round school plan for a while, which is fantastic for teachers because you just work 9 weeks and take a 3-week vacation. Terrible for students, but fantastic for teachers. I'm married. My son just graduated from high school. He's a freshman in college. I do intend very definitely to retire this year, and I don't know what I plan to do after that, but I can assure you I will not be bored. Let's see, I did get a master's degree somewhere along the line. I do consider college. I might even try going back to college. One of the things that drew me back about going into college was cut pay after you worked in the public school for a while. So I couldn't see like giving up half my salary to start out all over again at the college level. But I don't know. I was trying to probably maybe part-time in a junior college. There are like 4 or 5 colleges in the area too. I'm sure they would welcome somebody part-time. But that's only if I get desperate.
You enjoy yourself.
So I'm really glad you guys organized this today. It's really been nice seeing everyone. And I hope to see you again, but not in 30 years.
Paula Ferguson, 30 years teaching, I guess. Started out in Champaign. I think my name was Paula Drake at that time. I guess I did it the reverse way. And then I went to Joliet for 3 years, and been in high school for 1 year, and I've been at Triton College for 25 years. And during the 25 years, I think I've had the whole gamut. I've coached just about everything that you can coach. Gymnastics probably was my area of expertise. If we had to get down to that, I think that's from Miss Simmons' wonderful dance experience and knowledge that she gave me. I served as the director of athletics at Triton College for both men and women for a while. And I went back and got a master's degree in business, and now I'm teaching partially in business and partially in physical education, so I split my time between the two departments. And it's great. I'm glad somebody finally decided that it was time that we got together. I think I've seen a few of you at conventions, and Jan and I, we see each other quite often, and I think we all look great.
Thanks a lot. Joyce Norton, and I graduated in '63. I have 2 Grays Lake. I'm still in Grays Lake. Over the years, I've done a lot of volunteer work. I've been a permanent sub for about 13 years, I guess. Then I went back to do some other teaching. I decided that for my daughter, I am married, 28 years. I have a son who is 26 and now a conductor on the Southern Pacific. I have a daughter who is at the University of Montana, loves it. It's between the Buffalo Range and the Mission Mountains, and is in forensics and is looking forward to her first cadaver, really. I am a grandmother twice. I have 2 grandsons, 2.5 and 6 months. They live in home. I am teaching earth science. My daughter graduated from high school. I decided I wasn't going to sit around and do nothing, and so I went back to college. And I did not go in to get my master's. I decided I wanted to be with the youth. And so I went on and I took a lot of courses. I could teach 10 different subjects on my certificate. But I have a good time, not just umpiring. I love to umpire and I love to coach and do other volunteer work. And I think it's terrific. Eastern certainly turned out an excellent group in these 2 years.
I'm Jan Graves, 1964. I don't have anything illustrious like all of you people. I got my first job at Dundee High School, and I was there for 4 years. People always ask, well, how did you go from downstate Illinois all the way up there? I don't know. They called me up and said, come up for an interview, and I took the job, and I've been up that way since. Then I went to Bentonville, and that was right when Jan first came back from getting her master's, so I worked under Jan for 1 year, and then she took off for wherever she went next. I think she went out to New Mexico then. Paula had been there before me, so I just followed her in the footsteps, I guess. Been there ever since. Of course, we went to the girls' sports era where we started everything and coached everything. It was high school 1900, I think, at the time, so I probably coached 3 or 4 different things. And I finally retired from coaching a year ago. I kind of gave up softball as my last coaching responsibility. Played against her team. She umpired, I think, 1 year when I was coaching, but you see these people and you think, boy, that face looks familiar, and I finally, did you go to Easter? Forget what era they came from, whether they're students, parents, whether they're from your past or whatever. So
You made my entire season.
we lost probably. I've been in good health. I have a place, vacation place in Wisconsin, so spent a lot of the summers up there, and Paula's come up and water skied up in my place with us, so we can keep in touch too. So that's about it, I guess.
Are you going to retire, Jan?
I don't know. I can't.
You want to work 5 more years?
I don't think so.
You want me to turn and face you? That's
Whatever. I'm going to move over a little bit.
Well, I'm the only non-PE person here, but I live in Elizabethville and always have. But I'm married to Bland. Juju, some of you may have known me as too, and I played basketball and volleyball with some of you back in my more youthful days. because I went to Eastern back when you kids were just getting hatched. I went in 43 and 43, 44, and 44, 45. They did not even have a PE major then, or I probably would be a PE teacher. No, I'd be a retired PE teacher. But I went on to nursing school in Chicago. It was Western Memorial Hospital then. It's now Northwestern Hospital. And I worked a year in Chicago, in Decatur, and then in 49, I came here to Eastern and started working as a nurse in the health service. I was just going to be here for a year or two, really, basically that first year, because my sister was getting married in the fall, and I didn't want to miss out on any of the showers or the parties and so forth. And so I got the job and retired after 35 years. And I had to quit playing basketball. Soon, my knees are no good now. Dr. He told me I ought to quit playing. I'd be sorry later, and I am, but if I had it all to do over again, I'd probably still be playing. Let's see, some of you even lived upstairs at my house. We called it Pern House. It was Charlotte Lambert and I moved the house. That was in 59 when the new highway, that dates me, the new highway came in 1959, and I still use that term and understand my grandfather much better than I used to. But it is still the new highway. The old highway is 316. And let's see. Well, Charlotte and I moved another house too, but we neither one owned either house now. We've both sold them, but it was good, and we made good money on the students, and they were no problem.
Except the water fights.
Yeah. And in 78, I married Harold Blackford, who was the Oldsmobile Jeep and American Motors man here in town, and Pete Bawley was a good friend of he and his wife at that time, Beth. And Beth, I call her, she's my predecessor. I was Harold's wife after Beth. And I used to skate down there when I was first in school, and I have a pond, and I want you all to come, if you can at all, to my house and just talk and visit, and you can fish in the pond if you want to. I don't know, I don't fish. I think there in the basement, if you could get to it, you could get some fishing equipment. And the dog's in the backyard, and I still have a little red dachshund, and her name's Kinder. And so you can play with her, or you can pick up hickory nuts and walnuts and so forth. And because Harold didn't live too long, I think I wore him out. I bet you did. But I bought cars from him. You know how I got him? Now this is for you older gals who aren't married yet. You just never know where your husband's going to come from. You kind of always got to be on your toes just in case you want one. I had known Harold for years and had bought Oldsmobiles from him, several different cars, and knew Beth had been at the house for dinner, been there fishing, or not fishing, no, he fished. I ice skated. And Beth had died in 64, and Harold and I didn't start going together till 74, because that's when I was looking at cars, and he had a demonstrator down at his agency that would have been a perfect car. He said, "Now, Richard, that'd make an awful good car for you." But there was a coupe, Lincoln something or other, and it had automatic windows. And automatic windows. Well, I bought that car, and Harold always said that I called him to let him know that I'd decided on the Ford and not his Oldsmobile. But I always insisted that he called me to see if I had decided yet on the car. So anyway, he came to see it, and we started dating. And I graduated. Yeah, I graduated from Eastern in 73. Started in 43. Graduated in 73 when the BOG, the Board of Governors degree, was first instituted. And all. Didn't mean, I always called it my bogey BA because it didn't mean anything at Eastern, the institution that gave it. But some of the nurses in other areas around here, they get their BA with this bogey, with Board of Governors BA, and they get $2,000 or $3,000 raise, but you think Eastern recognized it? No, I retired in '85.
Okay, for the camera, I'll say I'm Gwen Dina. And, golly, the thing about you and I are going to take the longest time if I trace my whole history. I've been on the move and I've been on the go. I've been trying a lot of different things. When I left Eastern, I started out at Lockport. And I went to Lockport Central, got moved over to Lockport East when it opened up. And I just Lockport West because they changed it to Romeoville. So I didn't have to worry about going over there. Got married, went down to, think of the little town that was down there, Carbondale. Taught there for a year and then went up to Dubuque, Iowa. Spent 15 years in Dubuque. And I got a little tired of phys ed in 1976, so I switched over to special education. Went over to Northern, received a master's in multi-handicap, and then left Iowa because I divorced. Went back to Illinois, started another certification for the visually impaired, and taught over at Hampshire, which was part of the Dundee School District for 1 year. Then remarried and then went down to Louisiana for 8 years. And when I was down there, I was director of rehabilitative services for a facility that served MR clients. And then after 8 years of that, I decided it was time to finish up my 10-year goal to actually get certified and start teaching visually impaired. So you all are retiring. I'm just starting. And I'm loving it. That's it, you know, but if I hadn't, I probably would have been just like y'all, you know, ready to call it quits. But I just moved to Peoria last year, and I have 2 classes at the high school, students who are visually impaired. And then I do diagnostic work in the afternoon and itinerant, and I go to Galesburg, I go to Macomb, I go to Bloomington. We have 14 counties, so I get to see where y'all are within a day's work. So I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I have 1 son and a granddaughter of 2 next month. So sometimes you just, I did, I can't believe, and I haven't seen anyone. I think Jan and I got together, we were just saying at the beginning when my son was about a year old, so it was about a long, long time ago. So she was the only one I've ever seen since graduation. So yes, you're right, y'all do great. Oh, and also, Donna, you'll make it. I also am a 6-year survivor from cancer surgery. So you're going to do it.
All right.
We got about 2. Okay, let's get 9 in now. Go, go. Go, Eva, go. You got me? Oh,
Face the camera, face the
Nina Weaver Hickman. I have just finished 30 years of teaching. I took the 5+5. I'm out now. I taught 5 years of high school and 25 years of junior high. I taught at Zion Benton High School, Shelbyville High School, Charleston Junior High, and Taylorville Junior High. And my husband and I are living in